Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Pluto retrograde in a natal horoscope. First thing we'll talk about with this is that people that have this, they may have, some may have some issues regarding as far as being in control, perhaps things maybe as far as being obsessive to some degree, or having a strong fixation on certain things. The transforming side of this person may be suppressed and internalized. On average, people that have Pluto retrograde in their natal chart, they may be a little bit more apprehensive and skeptical of others in regards to perhaps succumbing to manipulation, betrayal, treachery, a little more fearful than Pluto direct as far as things that may be sinister or subversive. Profound changes may not be expressed outwardly as much as opposed to somebody having Pluto direct in their chart. People that have Pluto retrograde, they may be exceptionally either infatuated or enamored with something, or completely apathetic and disinterested. This could also be somebody that kind of goes through some fluctuation or vacillation in terms of really being strongly into something and then perhaps see it as an afterthought the next, or not, or just completely apathetic. Now, this could be somebody that may be more self-motivated, as opposed to, as far as change and transformation goes in their lives, as opposed to extraneous influences, or being motivated, say, by a motivational guru or someone else that is about motivation and helping others as far as making a change in their lives. Now, Pluto on average traverses a sign for approximately 21 years. So therefore, based on that, I put a lot more significance and weight in it as far as the house placement of Pluto, as opposed to the sign that it resides in. The sign that it resides in may flavor very minimally, but a lot more is emphasized with the house placement, I believe. Also, Pluto is retrograde on average for a little over 5 months, I believe around at least close to 160 days. So over 40% of people have Pluto retrograde. So its impact on an individual horoscope, I don't see it really as being that strong or significant. It can have a minimal impact, but at the same time an impact nonetheless. Now, when I look at Pluto, I'm going to give some examples for this in somebody that has Pluto retrograde in their natal chart. Now, let's take an example, somebody that has Pluto retrograde in the 7th house. Now, this person that has this may be exceptionally more fearful of treachery, manipulation, connected with 7th house matters, such as partnerships, relationships, than as opposed to somebody that was to have Pluto direct in the 7th house. Now, they'll have a lot of the similar things that that Pluto in the 7th natal has, such as perhaps upheavals and some changes in their as far as relationships or things connected with partnerships. But a lot of these things that are that happen with Pluto being in this house are a little bit more internalized on average. Now, this could be, let me give another example. Let's say somebody has a Pluto retrograde in the 1st house, as far as the 1st house of the outer demeanor, physical body. This could be a person, for example, that may want to do some kind of change or transformation, but more internally as opposed to externally. For example, somebody that was to go embark on some new diet that would eradicate the impurities in their system, where they would help change themselves more on the inside. Now, somebody, if they had Pluto direct in the first house, the person may feel compelled to change themselves in some way, but more with the outer body, as far as the inner. Maybe somebody that might decide to embark on some kind of I guess you could say a fitness health and fitness program or workout, where their physical body would actually take more of a change, as opposed to maybe the internal part of themselves. Now, another thing that I wanted to say, I didn't say before, about as far as things pertaining to Pluto retrograde, people that have this placement may be somebody that at times, and maybe in some isolated cases, may have somewhat of a little more of an aversion to as far as change or transformation, regeneration, because you're going in the other direction. But and another thing too is people that have Pluto retrograde may experience delays that are associated with transformation, regeneration, things that are associated with death. Now, I'm not saying that a person that these people are going to wait on somebody to die or anything like that, and the person hasn't died. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for example, an inheritance, maybe from somebody after they died. Maybe this person might encounter some difficulties in connection with that, or something with a will or inheritance that maybe what they're supposed to get might be protracted or delayed to some degree in connection with the person's death. And this could also be a person that, maybe depending on the house placement of Pluto, that may experience some kind of delay in connection with a figurative death. So, like for example, Pluto retrograde in the fourth house, maybe trying to end, maybe trying to sell their home, and they're trying to move on to a different location, and maybe this person has difficulties, for example, in selling their home, or as far as I guess you could say that would indicate maybe the figurative death of a home, so they can go on to a new residence. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Pluto retrograde in a natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about intercepted planets in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.